Here we are at the Biltmore Theatre. And my name is Will McGuirk, and this guy here, allow him to introduce himself because I know him for different names.
Yes, today I usually play under the name Daniel Raymond, but my name's Dan Blom. But you'll see me performing around as Daniel Raymond.
Okay, so and shout out to the Biltmore because this is like such a great spot and a great venue, and I absolutely love hanging out at this. Is like easy the best kept secret, this bar up on the mezzanine area of the Biltmore Theatre, which is really fabulous. But anyway, just before we get into everything, because we were talking off air behind the scenes about how long we have known each other, and what date is today? It's like 2024.
Yeah,
and we met like prior to 94,
30 plus years.
Yeah, more than that. Probably back in the early to mid 90s. When you were floating around, you and a bunch of young lads were in a band, I believe, called Easy Access.
Yes.
And we used to write about you in my fanzine in the Willie Took. So we go way back.
Yeah.
Right. So you had recorded a couple of albums back then, I think.
Yeah. So we had one full-length CD, Children of the Happy Parents, right sort of in the heart of the Moon Room days. When there was so much happening in Oshawa during those days.
Yeah.
And then that was 93. And then 95, we changed the name of the band because Easy Access was originally, we were a cover band. We were playing around like cover shows around Oshawa, and even started, I think you and I were talking one day about how back in the day, people used to just, in high school, you'd rent a hall and
we're
three. Just doing it in a hall.
Yeah, everything in this town is still DIY, man. You still do your own stuff.
Yeah. And so, but then as we changed sort of styles, we changed the name to Mitchell's Corners. So then we had one CD as Mitchell's Corners,
right?
And that was 95.
Yeah. All right. And then I kept doing my stuff, rolling along, writing and being part of the scene. But you bowed out of it. And now you're back.
Yeah.
And this is not your first record back. You've had a couple.
Yeah.
Or at least one.
Yeah.
So let's talk about your in-between journey as to what brought you back into music.
Yeah. So when Mitchell's Corner disbanded, there was sort of a middle period where I was living up in Peterborough and was playing a lot around that area. And I really liked that time. And in a way, because I was on my own, I think I developed a lot musically during the 5 or 6 years I was there, because Peterborough also has that real DIY feel.
Yeah.
Even as far as instruments, just pick up this instrument and try it and see what sound you can get out of it. So that's really when I started to work on solo stuff. But it was a hard go, and I was getting older. And so then eventually I left and moved into, I was overseas teaching for 3 or 4 years.
Okay.
3 years. And then I've been a mental health professional since then. But as my kids got older, I really missed the music, like doing music, and had the time to do it.
Yeah.
There was more time and space in my life. And I think it's funny, like there was just, I think people starting to pass away. In a way, whether it's people, artists I like, or friends, family, it just reminded me that life is short, and this is something that I wanted to do. So I think it started with doing a 40th birthday surprise party for my wife. And Mike, one of the guys that I always played with, Mike Minnie, and I just did some music at that. And we were supposed to just play 2 songs. And I think we did 30.
Oh, nice.
And then just sort of got the itch and got the taste for it again. And then I just started writing, and some of those songs were from that Peterborough period, from that period. And once it was back in my life, it's just, I can't stop doing it again.
So you did the first record.
Yeah.
Right. And now this is the second one.
This is the third.
This is the third.
This record was an EP, 6 songs called Soft. And I recorded that up in Northumberland with Andy Thompson. And then I did another 9-song release called Suspension. And those were all sort of around the COVID. So the one, Soft, came out in 2020. So it was recorded all through that. Suspension was 2022.
Yeah.
And that led to this third one, the What We're Trying to Become. And
zoom in.
One of the things I really wanted to do was...
These are so small, man. Vinyl is like so much better, man. I need a vinyl record now.
Yes, they're big in size and big in price, too.
Yeah.
I just wanted to work with a new producer, and that was sort of, because each time you record something, you want to do something different. And a big part was trying to work with a new producer and not play with the same people, because the first 2 albums I had done were with some of the guys from Easy Access and Mitchell's Corner. And I was just curious what would happen if I was working with other people too.
Okay. Now, before we get to those other people, which is pretty kind of cool because they're pretty great people.
Yeah, pretty lucky.
Let's talk about what this is all about, because you're doing a CD release party.
Yeah.
Right here in the Biltmore, but on the mezzanine, so not the main stage. So talk to me about like this and why here, and what your plans are for that evening.
Yeah. So I did a release party for the previous recording, Suspension, here at the Biltmore, which was great, on the main stage.
Yeah.
But it felt kind of lonely up there. Like, it was funny because so many of the people that come are friends or people you've known a long time. And there was something, in retrospect, is like, I feel weird being up on stage in this really performative role. And I wanted to do something more intimate for this release party, and I even wanted to be a bit more intimate with some storytelling and just telling people, where the songs came from and that sort of thing. So I reached out to Jacob in the Biltmore and was like, could we just do something just upstairs? Because I love the feel of this. I think this room is that.
And then it's got so much potential, man.
Yeah, beautiful, beautiful space. And size-wise, I thought, first of all, it'll be sort of right down on the same level with everybody, which feels more genuine to me and more fitting for what I'm doing. And it'll also feel fuller. It's a smaller space, so the old ego will not be as deep.
Yeah.
So,
well, that is. Do you find, just as a performer, just as a sidebar on it, do you, as a performer, like, it is like a big stage, you can be up there and you can fill it, but just in your own sort of like evolution as a singer-songwriter, your songs lend themselves to that intimacy, you think? That it's much more like you just want to be on the same level as everybody? You don't necessarily want that sort of like hierarchy? Like, it's just...
I think so. Like, I want to be communicative, and I like that too.
Yeah.
I like a good house concert. To me, I'm picturing almost like a house concert, just in a cooler house than mine.
Yeah.
So I like that, even as an audience member, where there's something you feel like you're in relationship with the artist. You're not adoring them on the stage.
Okay, so if people come, there'll be a big lineup, so people should get their tickets early, because it's going to be a massively important show. So tell us, what are your plans for the actual evening? Because I think you have some special guests and stuff, I think, set up.
Yeah, well, I'm going to sort of do a lot of storytelling and have some visuals, and there'll probably be as much yakking as there is playing music. And I'm actually sort of slowly trying to bring my children, the fruits of my loins, into the business. So my son and a friend of his...
call that. That's the best ever.
They do. They'll be happy to hear that.
It'll be Daniel Raymond and the fruits of my loins.
That's right.
That's the band.
So my daughter will get up and do a couple of songs with me that she likes, and then my son and his friend will get up. So I want them to have this experience too. And again, that feels more fitting to who I am too.
Does it fit in with the concept of like what you were writing the songs about? Are the children doing their own stuff? Are they going to be playing your stuff? Like, is this like a family sort of focused record?
No. Like, I mean, they'll thematically, it's definitely not. Yeah, it's not really focused on themes of family. It's just more my sense of, why don't I just get them to come up and play? But it's one of my values. Right? To include them in it, rather than it be something that takes me away from them.
Sure. Yeah.
And also, I just want them to get a taste of how fun this sort of thing can be. Yeah, I want to plant that seed for them to do it. Hopefully in a few years, I'm sitting watching that.
Yeah, it's one of those things as a, non-professional sort of singer-songwriter, and maybe even for actual professionals.
Yeah.
So like when you would sort of like carried on with your own journey, mine too, like when my kids were all born, like, why would I ever want to leave them? You know what I mean? So I dropped out of the scene as well at around about when my kids were younger. And eventually once they, don't need their dad anymore, you kind of get, you're like, okay, I'm going to get back into doing this thing, which I enjoy, and it's taking that time away from your family. So once you've invested in them, then you feel like you're separating yourself away from them again. But this is a way, what you're saying is to actually, it's all one thing. This is not like that's not up here and all that sort of stuff. It's still the same thing. So yeah, I think that's, I think it'd be kind of cool.
It's them getting to know, I think, their community too. It's sort of one thing that I've learned from you over time, that you've always been a big proponent of doing stuff within the community.
Yes.
And it's funny because I remember I've talked to you about, Will gave us a bad review back in the day. And it was a good line, though. Are you going to use it? Yes, he compared us being on CFNY to one of the fifth horsemen of the apocalypse. And the idea was we were on CFNY, which was alternative radio, but it was like a mock tragically hit band at the time, for sure.
Yeah.
Correct. But they asked us to talk about, I think what rubbed you the wrong way is they asked us to talk about local Oshawa bands, and we didn't really have a response.
Yeah.
And if I look back, there were certain bands we were connected to. Like,
yeah. It was a good scene.
Old and Red, but we didn't get as connected to the whole scene and the people within it. And so I think that is an important part of it, because you're probably not going to get famous. And what you do remember is all the people from our community. And it's something that stuck with me and something that I sort of try to do. And in writing,
yeah,
about things
that I scolded you.
You scolded,
yeah. I got all dad on you.
That's right.
Yeah,
but it's nice it's fun having those memories.
Well, that's good, man. It's probably not so much fun at the time, but I remember, like, people call me up on it. I don't know. It's just my opinion. The good kids. But that's it. Like, I mean, and it's just in the context of that, it's legitimate and stuff like that. But it's hilarious, man. Sometimes I look at the stuff I wrote and I'm like, how do you get away with that stuff? But anyway, let's talk about your producer, who we both know and we both think is fabulous.
Yeah.
For this record, how did that happen?
It happened because I was sort of stuck songwriting wise. So I've always been looking for, like, you'd see these workshops for like songwriting weekends or songwriting conferences, and a lot of them didn't appeal to me because they seemed to be like how to write a hit. And then I saw this one come up that was at Wolf Island.
Yeah.
Outside of Kingston. And it was Jenny Whiteley, Susie Ungerlinger, or Susanna, she played us for a while, and Jim Bryson. And I was like, that I would love.
Yeah.
Those are people that I'd like to sort of spend time with. So went and really hit it off with the three of them. And Jim was talking a lot about how he produces and he records. So I was like, do you think maybe we could work on something? And he said, well, send me some stuff and we'll see. And luckily he was interested in doing it, and that was he's a really talented guy.
Yes, right. Yeah, super.
And just a fun guy to spend time with.
Mm-hmm.
So his fingerprints are all over this, which is good. I like that, because I really like his sensibilities, his musical sensibilities. So yeah, I got to have this great weekend in Wolf Island and meet these people, and then the bonus was connecting with him and getting to do this recording.
So how did you do it? Did you do it? Well, he's up in Stittsville, right?
He's up in Stittsville.
Did you go up there? Oh,
yeah.
He's going to do it sort of remotely.
No, we did it up there. So we did a couple of Zoom calls, and I would send them things back and forth. And so we'd get a good sort of sense of what we were going to work on before I showed up. And I have friends up in Wakefield, so I would just go to day, and then I'd go sleep in their basement in Wakefield, and then go back and do another day. The only thing that was done remotely was the drums. So Peter Von Alten, who he has played with forever, had set up over COVID to sort of be able to do the drums remotely. And so that was the one thing that was done. Jim just sent him the tapes and he did the drums from home.
Am I thinking that is like James McKenty involved or
James? So James, that one prior to going to the songwriting weekend, I just had one song and I wanted to do something with James. Because I knew he's just around the corner in Peterborough and I love any excuse to go to Peterborough. And had one song and just, again, shot in the dark, said it, would you be willing to do this song? And so that one was done back in 2022, I guess. Okay. And then when I was putting this together, I thought it had already existed as a single, but I thought, it fits nicely on the album. And something about 4 songs instead of 3 felt more like an EP. Yeah.
No, I wasn't shaking your hand, but you can leave that in. I wanted to see that. Right? Well, I'll take this out because I'm an old man. Yeah. What we're trying to become. All right. Okay. Well, we will finish up because, the people will come to the show and get everything else and stuff like that. Title. Tell me. because it's just caught my attention now. I'm kind of interested in that.
Yeah. That is a line from a song I'd already written. So it's sort of a callback to some previous things. But once the songs were done, I realized that there's sort of themes of being at a point where you're trying to figure out what to do next and what you want to do next. So it's sort of a bit of there's an existential theme that I think runs through a lot of the songs. That line, I don't know, at some point I just thought, I knew what the themes were, and then when I was playing around singing an old song, I thought, oh, this line fits.
Well, I think it's a great title, man. I really do. Yeah, I think it's an attractive title because I think it kind of asks a question and answers a question at the same time. But you'd want to open this up. You want to crack this and listen to it and figure out what it is that we are all trying to become. Anyway, okay, that is good. I think we're okay. So if everybody's paying attention to this, come and check out. I know him as Dan Bloom. Daniel Raymond.
It confuses.
It's very confusing for all people. So yes, okay, Bennett. Thank you.
Now we can do an official.
Now we can do an official one. So yeah.